together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Hello. Oh, I guess I need this right here, the microphone. Happy Monday. Motivating Mondays. Monday. Yeah. Hi. Good to see you. Somebody's here already. Ooh, Leisure. Leisure's here. Good to see you, Leisure. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. Leisure says good afternoon. Michelle says lots of Alib. Yeah, Alib ain't doing it anymore. Okay. Talk about my finger. Something's wrong. And yeah. If you want to hear the full one, go listen to Monty Man Today, Take 12 Radio. You let me partly do the weekly wine. The partly weekly wine. So I have an appointment tomorrow. And I'm lucky I have it. The only reason I have it is because I sent him a message yesterday saying, I've had enough, man. You guys need to see me. You need to see me now. I don't care who else you got to see, man. This wasn't done right, and they're not listening. Well, I'm not going to let this happen to the next person, man. Advocating isn't necessarily about getting justice for what has been done to you. It is educating to make sure it doesn't happen to the next person. Yeah. She says, oh, you're in trouble if Alib ain't doing it. Yeah. Tramadol isn't even doing it. Yeah. A little bit, but it doesn't stop my finger from popping. It doesn't stop my finger from, getting caught. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Yeah. And I can either sit here and whine about that, have a bad attitude, and it'll hurt worse, or we can just go ahead and move on. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to think, at least I ain't hungover. What do you want, kitten? I've already had enough of you guys this morning. What? You're just cheering at me. Oh, you poor pig. My kittens know if they stare at me long enough, they'll get what they want. Just like children. All right, let's get to Dion's Daily Funnies. Let's have a little bit of laugh in here. Why not? All right. I don't know. I've done this enough times where I think that we've used up all the dad jokes. We'll see. All right. Why did the chicken cross the playground to get to the other slide? All right. Why did the belt get arrested? It held up a pair of pants. A pair of pants. All right, we'll try one more time. A pair of pants. Thank you. All right, just come here. All right. He'll bug me less if he's on my lap. All right. Did you hear about the guy who drank invisible ink? Did you hear about that? Yeah, he's at the hospital waiting to be seen. Is that all of them? I'll continue reading. Okay. This is from the Today Show. All right. What the hell? Okay. Why are libraries so tall? Because they have so many stories. We haven't told any of these. Thank you, today.com, for for helping with some good jokes today. Did you hear about the wig thief who escaped from prison? The police are combing the area. They are. I was wondering why the baseball was getting closer and closer. Then it hit me. These are actually not too bad. I wondered where do surfers go for an education? Boarding school. Yeah. I'm getting pretty good at the timing. Most of it. Okay, let's do one more because the other one we already did. All right. Did you hear about the guy who was addicted to the hokey pokey? Yeah, he turned himself around. No. The other slide, yeah. Break on through to the other slide. Break on through to the other slide. Yeah. Boom, 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 do, 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 do. Leisure says, at least I'm not hungover. Trying to remember what I did the previous night. Dude, where's my car? Dude, have you seen my car? Where's my car? I do not miss waking up or actually coming to and having to go through my phone, figure out what I did, ask my wife about all the stupid shit I did the night before. I do not miss those days. And those days are almost 10 years behind me now, man. And getting kind of excited. I'll have 10 years next month. So about a month and a half. I'll have 10 years. I got a feeling I'll probably make it, so I'm not too worried about it. And I'm not celebrating it yet. It's just that, you think back a lot when it comes to your birthdays and things like that. And but this one, I drank for a total of 20 years. And this one will mark me at 20 years total sobriety time. So yeah, I'll be an old timer again. This will not be the first time I've been an old timer. 10 plus years I consider old timer in AA. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I am your host. Please say hello whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. We got a new series coming this week. 6:30 Friday. We'll be going live. I've not figured out what to name it yet. It is going to be myself, my daughter, and my wife. My daughter came up with a Miller Without the Light, which I thought was pretty kind of ingenious. Miller Without the Light, L-I-T-E, right? Because there's Miller Lite. All right, so maybe a play on words with that. We'll see. But today we're talking about this thought brings us to step 10. We will be in the big book. Yes, the big book. Step 10, my favorite step, the human step. All right. Leisure says, you have 9 years and 11 months, but not me to work your program. Not yet. I don't quite have 11 months yet. I'll give you an exact day count. This is what everything AA is good for. 9 years, 10 months, and 14 days. Not bad. Not bad for Dion. So, yeah. All right. So, gets exciting. Cool stuff. All right. Let's get to this. We'll get there. And we'll tell plenty of more jokes until that time. All right. So these are right after the 9th step promises on page 84. Okay. And now we're getting into step 10. And thank God for step 10. Because it allows me to continue cleaning up my past while making sure that I do not create any new resentments. It is imperative that an alcoholic find freedom. And step 10 is the ultimate freedom step. Gives you the right to be wrong. It allows you to be a human being. It allows you to grow, right? Without the blame, without the shame, without the guilt. These are not required things. All right. This thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and can continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. Now, my sponsor told me when I was doing my 4-step, he said the key to writing your 4-step is not to cop any more resentments while we're doing this. Okay. That's the key. We vigorously commence this way of living as we cleaned up the past. We're not, we don't hang out on step 9. Right? You can get to steps 10, 11, and 12 while you're working on 9. Absolutely, you can. There's no reason. What I usually do is I usually have my sponsees do a few of them so that we can cover them. And then we continue to go, oh, I'm going to go make this one. Okay, so let's sit down and talk about that before we do what we're doing today. Things like that, right? So, wow, those numbers are popping all over the place. Restream and YouTube aren't getting along. So we'll see. All right. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for a lifetime. And it will. It will keep you, and I don't care how old you are. Well, Dion, I'm still pretty young. It don't matter. I'm 55 and I'm still learning in understanding and effectiveness. I don't know that I'm ever going to learn it all. I don't know. But my function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. That means that I'm probably going to have to do some things that I may not want to do. And that is okay. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, fear. When these crop up, we ask God to remove them. It doesn't say if these crop up, it says when. Because it's going to happen. You're human, right? You're a human being, all right? Earlier, I really like this one. I'm going to slip it in here. We have our version of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again. We're expecting a different result, right? And it was Einstein. I think he said it was Einstein. His version of insanity is rejection of the truth. And now that I've been around for a little bit and come back to say, I can see that. I rejected the truth. And because I rejected the truth, I continued staying insane. Because there's only one thing I can work with in this world, and that's the truth. Without it, I'm not making any progress. So, but yeah, and Leisure says when, yes, when these crop up, right? And learn from them. You may even make the same mistake a few times. It might even feel like you're going backwards, right? But if you recognize what you have done in front of that person without much time going by, man, that's a lot of progress. A lot of people in this world don't even get to that place. Okay? Now, but for them, it does. These things don't spell life and death, and for us, it does. Okay, they get to work with a lot of gray. We don't get that. What we do is very black and white, man. Right? There is some gray in what we do, but it's an either-or situation for us. So it should continue for a lifetime, right? We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we've harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code. We got it? Yeah. And there's the direction. When we get like this, the best way to get out of it, then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. It doesn't even have to be an alcoholic. Just get out of yourself. And what are you doing? You're reaffirming to God that you want them to take whatever um, selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. See, if you ask God to remove that and then put some action behind it, it'll solidify it in your brain that that is now what you are doing, and you will start to change. Yeah, we ask it once. God, remove this. I see it. Before, it used to take other people convincing us that we were acting that way. Now we don't so much need that, huh? All right. Love and tolerance of others is our code. I tell you, it took me a while to get there. It did. I'm gonna even sometimes with my advocating, sometimes I'm wondering because it goes on to say, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. Teetering, right? And so I have to be careful of that because I don't, yeah, because it feels that way. So, yeah. For by this time sanity will have returned. Now, the sanity we're talking about here is the insanity of the obsession of alcohol. That's the insanity that we're talking about here. Well, that's one of them. That was what I kept using over and over again, expecting a different result. Right, and it wasn't working. That was the insanity of it. Now, I love being free from the obsession of alcohol. It is something I am extremely grateful for. And I haven't even been tempted since I finally made the decision. I have not been tempted at all. There's been times when it's like, oh, that sounds good, but that's about it. Nothing else. I've never in the time that I've been sober this time but I went through a lot. I needed the obsession because on my own self-will, I have none. I don't know how some of you stayed dry for months or years. I have no idea how you did it. Good on you. Good on you though to go through that and show that you had some, for me, no. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. No, I don't even do that. I don't recoil. That's a reaction. To me, that's a reaction that shows that I still have a fear of alcohol. I do not fear alcohol. No. I respect it. That's for sure. We react sanely and normally, and we'll find that this has happened automatically. Now, did it happen automatically? No. It's going to seem that way, though. Here's the Karate Kid portion of the program. It'll seem that way. You have tapped an unsuspected inner resource that you now presently call God. All right? Look at all the work you did. Look at all the work you did before this. You trained yourself to think that way, right? Hi, Amber. Hi, Friendsky. It was funny because earlier I'm like, I went and had a cigarette, came back. I'm like 12 notifications. That's odd for Dion. 12. All of them were Amber just liking my stuff. Now I usually give people a hard time. Don't just like and love my stuff, but she watches every single one, so she gets to do that, right? Uh, so we will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. It just happened. All right. One day, I just didn't want it anymore. I mean, like literally, I don't hate it. I'm not mad at alcohol. No, I just don't want it anymore. It was great. I love it. And I thank God for it every day. And now what I get is that I get that same thing every day, depending on my spiritual maintenance. right? And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Right? We are not fighting it. Neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we've been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. Oh, and I needed that. I have not felt safe and protected most of my life, but I do now. Right? I'm neutral. I'm neutral to alcohol. If you want to drink, go for it. Right? I'm not gonna have any. You can have some. I don't care. If I'm going to go somewhere, the decision isn't based on whether there's alcohol there or not. That's not why I'm making my decisions on whether I'm going or not. It comes down to, well, is Dion going to cause more confusion than harmony? That's the question. I'm already neutral to alcohol, but that took some time. All right. We have not even sworn off. This time I didn't swear off. It just happened. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. That is how we react, so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. I still have to say that slow, or it comes out spit spiritual condition, which isn't quite the same. All right. And I do that through the maintenance steps. See, I've cleared my past out. Now it's continuing. Okay. Now what I did is we did a huge spring cleaning. Now we're going to clean a little bit every day so that our house doesn't get dirty again. It's literally what it is. Maybe you had a bunch of junk in your backyard, right? Now every day you just have to pick up a few things, but it's not all cluttered. Some days you might maybe let one day go by, right? It starts to pile up a little. Oh, we're going to take care of that. These are the things that we need in order to stay sober. We need to have the freedom. Without the freedom, we don't have much. But the problem is in order to gain that freedom, I'm going to have to find some dependence upon a higher power. That's where my freedom comes from. All right. It goes on to say it is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. Now, if you listen to me at all, you already know what I'm going to say. Laurels is not necessarily just sitting on your butt. Okay. Actually, let's do this. Instead of me just explaining it, let's just go to the definition. Right? Okay. Definition of resting on your laurels. We'll turn it down. Being so satisfied with what one already has achieved that one makes no further effort. Satisfied. Feeling satisfied. All right. Good example. Very good example, actually. Grassroots. We've decided that we're going to be listed on everything AA because we're not getting as many people, because the group's doing great. It is, but it's a little too comfortable. It is. We got to stir it up a little bit and make things a little uncomfortable so we could do some more growing. It was a good call. Kind of scary. I tell you now, I got a little selfish about it myself, right? But thank God for the 10th step where I can put my shit aside. But it was correct to do because it's true. You go to the meeting, everybody's way too comfortable in the meeting now, man. That's not necessarily a good thing. I'm glad you feel comfortable there. Okay, but a group needs to grow also, and not necessarily just in the size of how many people, but as a group. What are we doing? How are we doing this? That sort of thing, right? So, it is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action, rest on our laurels. We're headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. I'm going to tell you, you better respect alcohol and what it can do to you. You don't have to like alcohol in order to respect it. You don't need to love alcohol. You don't have to have any feelings towards it in order to respect it. And why do we do that? So we stay away. It's one reason I do it. It is clear that alcohol has more willpower over me than I did when it comes to drinking. All right. We're not cured of alcoholism. It's a hard one for people to accept. Okay. See, everybody's running around looking for the cure to alcoholism. It doesn't exist. I don't think it does. Okay. Because think about it. If I had to, let's say they figured out a way to cure alcoholism, right? How's that going to be applied? By pill? By shot? Some kind of surgery to change your DNA? See? It doesn't sit in your stomach, huh? It just doesn't match, does it? So we are not cured of alcoholism. And there is no cure for alcoholism now. Now, there are a couple meds out. I can't remember them off the top of my name, but there are a few meds out that will help reduce your obsession for wanting to drink. Yeah. Yeah. If you need that in order to get rid of the hooch, I mean, go for it, man. Doctor, that's all doctor stuff, right? Though. So we're not cured of alcoholism. What we have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. And that is true of every single person in Alcoholics Anonymous. Time, it doesn't say, oh, unless you have 9 years, 14 days. It doesn't say that. Okay. There's no qualification in this. It's for all of us. So what do I get? What happens? Well, Dion goes to bed, a recovered alcoholic, and he wakes up a hopeless, helpless alcoholic again. Within about 30 minutes, I'm back to being a recovered alcoholic because I go and do my maintenance. I pray. I start my day. I do the daily trudge. I educate. I get out of self a lot. Because too much time in this head is just too much time in this head. It is so cool that it happens that way. Because then what happens is every day I get a new miracle. I get another spiritual experience every single day because we live our lives a day at a time. Sure, I have 9 years and 14 days, but the only thing that matters is right now. It's the last 9 years or 9 years. I can only use that as an experience to help other people. That's what that's good for. The rest of the stuff hasn't happened yet. And I need to learn how to live in the now. That's where the freedom is at. That's where happiness and contentment are. That's where your fellows are, your friends. They're living in the now. All right. If you're sitting down, you're having a conversation with somebody, it is the only thing going on. Everything else is a what if. Right now, everything outside of the daily trudge, for Dion anyway, maybe you're doing other stuff, is a what if. All right. And while I'm sitting here talking about all these things, there are things that run through my mind. I don't know if that happens to other people. While I'm talking, my brain is still thinking about other crap. Right? I probably don't have dyslexia. I probably just have an uncontrolled mind. So, yay, the daily reprieve. This is awesome. This is great news. This means you don't need to stay sober for the rest of your life, just today. Now, for me, the thought of staying sober the rest of my life actually sounds nice. Sounds great to me. I love this way of life. It works very well for me. Yesterday, I went to a random meeting. Sundays, I go to a random meeting. And I ended up in a meeting that was a dual diagnosis meeting. And I think they meant drugs and alcohol. All right. Well, I have several dual diagnoses and stuff. All right. And I really loved, I thought it was hilarious and take it tongue in cheek. And the guy said, when it comes to the 11th step, for me, it's uh, continue to make a conscious contact through prayer and medication instead of meditation. I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was a funny play on words, right? Now, I myself am diagnosed with 5 different mental illnesses, and I'm not on any meds. No. And I'm not telling you to go off meds or get on meds because I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Okay? I don't know your situation. But it is nice. I'm going to tell you now, I refuse to detox from another fucking med in my life. It ain't going to happen. So, all right. So, what we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. That one little line right there can save your whole day. Thy will, not mine, be done. Just keep that in your head. Thy will, not mine, be done. It's quick. You can say it in your head. Maybe somebody just cut you off on the street. Maybe something happened. God, save me from being angry. It's your will, not mine. I'm going to stay out of it. Okay? There is no reason for us to be running around in cars, flipping people off, making life harder for other people. I do it too, and I need to stop. Like when somebody follows me really close behind, I don't brake check. I slow down very slowly. And I probably shouldn't do that either. I should probably mind my own business, be a defensive driver, and get to where I need to be going. For everybody's sake. All right? These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will. Cool. Now we're even proper use of the will. This is all good stuff for us alcoholics. This is all great news for us. All right. Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from him who has all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed direction, hiccups are coming. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of his spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop this vital 6th sense, but we must go further, and that means more action. What is the vital 6th sense for us alcoholics? Well, for me, I believe that the vital 6th sense is my intuition. Yes, it's my intuition. Yeah, remember, we are now on different ground. Our roots grasp a new soil. We are different people. All right. So that 6th sense is your tummy. It's your tummy giving you indicators. Remember when you were young and you lied and your tummy hurt? Well, I don't care how old you are, it still happens. All right. So the 10th step is, a lot of us, our 10th step is also reading several of the pages in the big book, right? It is us chalking up for the day what we have done. And not everything is bad. No. In fact, you're going to find as you go along that more good is going to happen than bad because you get to see the forest for the trees now. And it's a beautiful forest. All right. So I'm going to read the last part of step 10 in the 12 by 12. As we glance down the debit side of the day's ledger, we should be careful We should carefully examine our motives in each thought or act that appears to be wrong. Now, go a step further. Don't just do that with things that you do wrong. Do it with things that you do right. Okay, I did it right. That was correct. Because now you're telling your mind this is the right thing. Okay, I did that right. Well, what did I do to make that correct? So that way you can do it again later. Okay. Now, it doesn't need to be so much where you're patting, it's okay to pat yourself on the back. Just don't break your arm doing it. But not everything needs to be in red ink, meaning bad. Okay. In most cases, our motives won't be hard to see and understand. Yet now that you've confronted your snakes and taken a look at something, it's not going to be too hard for you to work through this. And pretty quickly, too. All right. When prideful, angry, jealous, anxious, or fearful, we acted accordingly. And that was that. We acted accordingly. I found that usually it is Dion keeping his mouth shut. That's usually according. God, I love running my mouth. All right. Here, we need only recognize that we did act or think badly, try to visualize how we might have done better, and resolve with God's help to carry these lessons over into tomorrow, making, of course, any amends still neglected. Make those amends. Okay. Also, don't do this. Don't try and determine the size of the problem. A problem is a problem, right? Now, after a while, these are going to become opportunities for you. In fact, Leisure said it earlier in the podcast that these are learning opportunities, right? But in other instances, only the closest scrutiny will reveal what our true motives were, right? Now, I've been teaching you a trick for about a month now, and it's the why trick. Ask yourself why. Be that 4-year-old that won't quit asking why. You're leaving early. Okay. Okay. Love you, baby. But in other instances, only the closest scrutiny will reveal what our true motives were. So ask yourself why. Why was I like that? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Okay. Now, after a while, you're not going to have to do that all the time. It'll start to come naturally to you. Now, remember, this is practice, but you got to maintain it or that practice will fade away. I've noticed that with alcoholics, right? So, there are cases where our ancient enemy, rationalization, has stepped in and has justified conduct which was really wrong. The temptation here is to imagine that we had good motives and reasons when really we didn't. We constructively criticize someone who needed it when our real motive was to win a useless argument, or the person concerned is not present. We thought we were helping others to understand him, when in actuality, our true motive was to feel superior by pulling them down. Any of this sound familiar? This is stuff that Dion went through. And now he can see it from a mile away, especially when somebody's doing it to him. Right? All right. So, and I got to admit, my brain still slips into this sometimes. Yes. It doesn't last as long as it used to, though. I mean, it doesn't last very long at all. Well, it depends on what it is. Am I reaching out to another person talking about, or am I trying to make these decisions all by myself? All right. That's a mistake for Dion. All right. We sometimes hurt those we love because they needed to be taught a lesson when we really wanted to punish. We were depressed and complained we felt bad when in fact we were mainly asking for sympathy and attention. This odd trait of mind and emotion, this perverse wish to hide behind a bad motive underneath a good one, permeates human affairs from top to bottom. I would have Roger had some great things to say on this part in Take 12 Radio today, right? How sometimes It's like we brag about our self-justified anger, thinking it's a good trait. Why do we do that? Why do we want to hang on to that? Go, let's do it. He does a much better job than me. This subtle and elusive kind of self-righteousness can underline the smallest act or thought. Learning daily to spot, admit, and correct these flaws is the essence of character building and good living. An honest regret for harm done, a genuine gratitude for blessings received, and a willingness to try for better things tomorrow will be the permanent assets we shall seek. Right? What do they say? Do the best you can with what you have each day. It's all that's ever asked of you. Having so considered our day, not omitting to take due note of things well done, we have searched our hearts with neither fear nor favor. We can truly thank God for the blessings we have received and sleep in good conscience. All right. That's going to be it for today's Daily Trudge. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And keep on